All right, shalom, shalom. Okay, this is your brother Zakaria Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, coming with another lesson through the Spirit, and Lord willing, this be edifying to the Lord's elect. All right, before I get started with this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto our power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, V'cha, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, of whom I've grown in this truth under. Shalom to the Akim out there that's pushing the truth, that's laboring in the word, and that's pushing the gospel of the great kingdom that's soon to come. Shalom to the Akwath that's listening in, that's remaining true to the faith, remaining faithful and submissive to their husbands and guiding their children. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. To you Israelite foreigners out there who live among the heathen and who look like those heathen nations, but your lineage goes back to the progenitors of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel through the line of your fathers. I want to say peace and blessings to you all, Barakatham. All right. So just doing a bit of a land back here. All right. I was watching the video from the beloved elder Yashawamba out of Dallas, and the name of his lesson is Response: White Supremacy is a Big Lie. All right. Various topics. His YouTube channel is Remnant Saved 144. Subscribe and be edified. All right. So I want to show this video. All right, and basically show another video as well that the elder had showcased in this lesson. All right. So let's get this started here. Let me start off with the book of Psalms, chapter 94. All right, let's go to verse 3. It says, Lord, Lord, how long shall the wicked triumph? How long shall they utter and speak hard things, and all the workers of iniquity boast themselves? All right. So with that, all right, let's let the elder take it away, and I'm gonna let this go for a little bit, about maybe, I don't know, about 10 minutes perhaps, and then I'll get it in with what I got. All right, bear with me.
Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations, as always, to the elect. Mediocre Edomites are getting ready to crash out. Let me say that again. Mediocre Edomites are getting ready to crash out, as there's a shameful spewing on the glory of their elites. All right. And this concept of so-called white supremacy is being tarnished through the truth. All right. Which ultimately white supremacy, all right, was Edomites, all right, using pseudoscience to prop themselves up as the superior people. Okay. Using lies, sabotage. All right. And ultimately the blessing given unto them by the Most High was only temporal. All right. Where they would be able to enjoy, the ability, the fatness of the earth, blessed with a military like never before. All right. And all of that's being gutted from the inside out. They're turning on one another. Their women are turning on them. Okay. And pretty much through inquisition, which is a prolonged investigation through this word, as we have gotten close upon this devil, we found out that he's not superior. Okay. And pretty much he's on his way out. He's a loser. He's a clown. And the pseudoscience that propped him up has been found out to be nothing but a damn lie. And we'll tap into a few of those things. This is pretty much going to be a various topics. The elder Aishayar sent me this video earlier, And it's not much, but you get inside the mind of the mediocre Edomite as their elites are screwing them over. Okay, the media has been used along with enchantments has been used to pretty much give these Edomites someone to blame in the form of the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American, hoarding up all of the resources by being on welfare. Then they blame the Somalian, they blame the Haitians. All right, we always go into how the media has been used to give mediocre Edomites someone to point the finger at. And now a lot of them are starting to figure out that their own elites are screwing them. And pretty much what they're getting ready to do is go back to what they know. All right. And they're going to crash out against their own government. They're going to crash out against each other. But you best believe that you Israelites are going to be the easy target, because Esau Edom has to have someone to sabotage and rule over and dominate in order for him, all right, to feel good about himself, because he's a loser. All right. He's inept. He's lacking. All right. In many areas than just one. Okay. And really, he has low self-esteem. Okay. Anyone who is truly superior would just be superior, but they have to sabotage. You go on Twitter. All right. Which I was going to bring up a bunch of examples, but I'm just going to get a few videos by the elder Require Kwam. Right. This one, scientific racism, also existed in Greece. Edomite supremacy is just a lie. And I have this video here, which is a good video where this lady who looks to be an Edomite is pretty much exposing, all right, the Edomite middle class, who pretty much were able to enjoy the benefits of this racial hierarchy, in theory, in word, but they've never really been able to really have a piece of the pie. And now the small hat has run off with the blessing, right? And
Lord willing, excuse me, and Lord willing, I'll share that video. All right after this. But let's continue.
everywhere you look, Edomites are just getting clowned. Their own women are turning on them, right? All of their lies are being gutted and exposed. So I'm going to play this video here, right? Because we know what the scriptures say, that the devil is getting ready to come down with great wrath. And we know this to be the elites, but also these, middle-class Edomites as well. All right. They're going to go for what they know, as they have nothing to lose. They're through. Esau is the end of the world. We're at the end of Esau's world. Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, which is the elect, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. Everything's suffering at this man's, brute rulership, man. The animals, the fish, coral reef, everything is suffering at this man's rulership. Because he's basically going to try to sabotage the earth and destroy everything, destroy the air, the atmosphere is all different. We live in a simulation that's not even real. Everything's fake, right? For the devil is coming down onto you, right? Having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time. And they know deep down inside that this is the end of their age. So now you have this talking point of white men fight back. Let me see if I can find a video on that. White men fight back, right? Let's see here. No, that ain't what I want to do. White men fight back. Okay, let's see if we can find something on that. This was some months ago.
White man fight back! White man fight back! White man fight back! White man fight back!
and there's other, you know, videos on it, and people were just laughing at them. You know, and it's more than that. You know, pretty much all over X, all over the internet, these Edomites are just, you know, coming together, you know, finding clips of Jake bugging out, you know, typing, you know, chimping out, you know, because they feel horrible about the fact that they're at the bottom. All right, where they were this whole American dream was rooted in them supposed to, you know, that they were supposed to be on top, you know, and now they find themselves in even a worse case than Jake. Then DEI was put in the news. They jumped onto that, you know, you know everything, and it was all rooted in just pointing the finger at, all right, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. When DEI benefited, all right, Edomite women, all right, and Edomite sodomites more than anyone. And who's more of a sodomite than Esau Edom? You so-called white people. Okay? But in the news and the media, who was to blame? Who was your scapegoat? Jake. But I'm going to play this. Just listen to this devil as they know that they're in, and then we'll get a few other clips of some scriptures.
Power. When black people chimp out, it looks like nihilistic gang violence and drive-by shootings. When brown people chimp out, it looks like Allah Akbar and it looks like cartels. When white people chimp out, it looks like ubiquitous domination. A level of conquest that other people could never fucking conceive of is the reality. And that makes a lot of people uncomfortable. And on some level, I don't even like being the one to say it because temperamentally I'm a sensitive person, but we have to start acknowledging that's the reason why all of this has been foisted upon us as a people, is because they are afraid of us, is the reality.
They are afraid of us.
All right. So yeah, that's pretty much the sentiment that these Edomites are starting to come. You know, they're starting to come to, as like the elder mentioned. You know, these Edomites know that they're at the end of the game. All right, they're at the end of the road here. Okay, and they don't want to face that. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to face that. As I've said before, okay, when this you know, with this whole transition, as is written of in the book of Second Ezra chapter 6 verse 9, when this whole transition, okay, as it's taking place, it's going to go out with a bang. It's going to go out with a lot of bloodshed. Okay, but you look at the look at the smug look on their faces, man. All right, and the other guy gave him a shake, like, oh yeah, you right, brother. You know what I'm saying? But this is how it is, man. You know what I'm saying? They're trying desperately to hold on to what it is that their forefathers had told them. All right, which it was all a lie. It was all a lie. So let me read this again in Psalms chapter 94 and verse 3. Lord, how long shall the wicked, how long shall the wicked triumph? How long shall they utter and speak hard things? And all the workers of iniquity boast themselves, and these devils are boasting themselves. All right? They're boasting themselves as they know how to do, as it's all they can do. You see what I'm saying? If you're the best, all right, if you're the best at something, more often than not, you don't have to flaunt it. You see what I'm saying? If you're a righteous leader, if you're a righteous ruler, you don't have to flaunt that. All right? The actions speak for themselves. And much less, you know, you much less have to sabotage your competition. You see what I'm saying? If you're just inherently better, you know what I'm saying, you don't need to give yourself a head start. You see what I'm saying? Continuing, it says, verse 5, they break in pieces thy people, O Lord. All right, and his people, who's his people? His people are the Israelites. The Lord's people are the Israelites. That's his inheritance. Okay, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Indians, Hispanics, Seminole Indians, man. All right, that's the lot of his inheritance. It says that they break in pieces thy people, O Lord, and afflict thine heritage. They slay the widow and the stranger and murder the fatherless. All right, you can even see that right now with the whole world being exposed to these Jeffrey files. You see what I'm saying? With the whole world being exposed to all this, with the Salaki. I don't know what's going on with these cats outside. Bear with me. Yeah, Salaki about that. It's a woman with a baby outside. I'm thinking it's a cat. Anyway, uh, where was I? Verse 5, it says, they break in pieces thy people, O Lord, and afflict thine heritage. They slay the widow and the stranger and murder the fatherless. And like I said, you're seeing this happening, you know what I'm saying, in real time. The world is watching this happening in real time. You know what I'm saying? From what's going on in Gaza, from what's going on with that school shooting or that school bombing over in Iran. All right, over 160 children haven't been destroyed, haven't been deleted. You see what I'm saying? They destroy the fatherless. All right, they destroy strangers. They destroy the widows. You see, verse 7. Yet they say the Lord shall not see, neither shall the God of Jacob regard it. You see, so they'll get up there on the TV screen and they'll tell you that this is a righteous cause. They'll tell you that this is to fight for freedom, to fight for liberty, and so on and so forth. All right, but their actions say the complete opposite. All right, that they're over there to plunder, they're over there to steal, they're over there to acquire land, they're over there to to take someone's heritage. Right? Let's get this in Habakkuk. All right, Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 5. It says, verse 4, it says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. He gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. All right? Micah chapter 2. Micah 2 and 1, it says, woe to him that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man and his heritage. You see? So this is what the world is waking up to and figuring it out. All right? And for the past, I don't know, for the past decade or so, all right, these Edomites have been given the mirror to look at, and they don't like what they see. All right? They don't like what they see, man. This is why the whole concept of white man fight back, all right, as if they weren't the ones who subjugated all these nations, as if they weren't the ones who done all this dirt and done all this wickedness. All right, so I want to share with you this next video here, all right, that the elder was using in his lesson here. All right, bear with me. All right, this next video is from the YouTube channel The Civic Sage. It says without a middle class, all right, real quick, without a middle class or a racial hierarchy, mediocre white folk are lit. All right, and that's not in a good way. That's in a bad way. You see what I'm saying? Without all of that, they're finished. They're cooked. If the way that these young kids are saying, they're cooked, man. You know, they're cooked if they don't have a narrative, if they don't have this mindset that they can portray upon the world. You know what I'm saying? Without that, then they have nothing. Okay? And this is another example of the fact that their own women are turning against them, man. Their own women don't want them no more. Their own women are calling out their bullshit, man. All right? Why? Because women can see spiritually before most. Okay? Women can see when there's power that's shifting. All right? They can see that. And so this is why you see all these women that's coming out and saying these things against their men and airing out the dirty laundry and so on and so forth. All right? Because the shameful spewing is on their glory. Right? Real quick. Was it Mike? No, it's Habakkuk. I think it's Habakkuk. Habakkuk chapter 2 and 16. It says, Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. All right? The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. All right? Shameful spewing is on these Edomites' glory as they're inching towards the edge of their kingdom now.
I want to credit Heather McGee for giving me this worldview that I'm going to talk about. I read the chapter in her book about this maybe 7 times before I actually could understand it and internalize it. And she talks about how America, white people in particular, have a zero-sum game mentality. We think that if someone is getting something, we're losing it. We don't think that we can all benefit together. And she says the reason for that is colonization, colonialism, whatever word you want to use, imperialism. It is because in America, we established a racial hierarchy in order to exploit labor and land. You come to a new land and it is inhabited by brown people. In order to take that land, you have to justify doing so. How do you do it? Well, brown people aren't as good as white people. You need to work that land and make a profit. So you enslave black people. How do you do that? You establish a racial hierarchy and say black people are less good and important than white people, so they deserve to be enslaved. So our racial hierarchy allowed our ancestors to exploit Native Americans and African Americans. It goes further than that, though. It also enabled a bunch of poor people from Europe to come here and have a new life and feel superior to the brown and black folks who were already here. So that zero-sum mentality was...
And that's going into all right, the Latin tribes as well. You know what I'm saying? When she says Native Americans, all right, that's talking about you as well in South America. All right. Remember, before you Puerto Ricans, you so-called Puerto Ricans, before you were known as Puerto Ricans, what they called you, all right, you were known as Taino Indians. You know what I'm saying? The Aztecs and the Incas, so on and so forth. All right. So you fall under that. These are the Israelites that she's pretty much exclaiming. All right. This is the Israelites.
Is tied into superior to the brown and black folks who were already here. So that zero-sum mentality was tied into our colonization. We didn't just share the land. We forced Native Americans onto reservations. If we took their land, they lost it. So we established that only one side wins in America. Same thing with Black people. Heaven forbid we, free them and pay them a good wage. No. Instead, they're enslaved and we get all of the benefits. So in America, we established that if we are winning, we are taking something from someone else and they are losing. And historically, that has been people of color. We took the Native Americans' land. We took Black people's freedom. And so that zero-sum game mentality is America. That mentality is in our heads still. It's hard not to feel that way. When we have underfunded schools, it's hard for me not to get annoyed when I see well-funded schools. Like, they're funded, so I'm not, rather than the fact that the GOP is starving all of our schools, and we should all be mad. Things like that. But I had a thought today about this. Right now, white supremacy is trying to bring back that racial hierarchy that was slowly being pushed down. There was not equality yet, but DEI initiatives, things like that, were finally leveling the playing field a little bit, destroying the racial hierarchy that our ancestors put in place in order to profit off of the Americas.
Essentially, what she's explaining here, or what she's describing, is what's known as manifest destiny. All right, manifest destiny was the belief that they had. So I looked this up real quick. Manifest destiny was the 19th century belief that the United States was destined to expand its territory across North America from the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean. This ideology was rooted in American exceptionalism, all right, American exceptionalism, and justified the westward expansion, often at the expense of indigenous peoples and other nations, all right. And as you can see now, they are, all right, they're pretty much reviving that mindset with the acquisition of Venezuela. They're talking about going into Cuba. You know what I'm saying? The small hats have now owned Mexico. This joke he's talking about Greenland, so on and so forth. You see what I'm saying? Manifest destiny was the expansionist belief in the 19th century that American settlers were destined to expand westward across the Americas, the North Americas, and that this belief was both obvious and certain. All right, was both obvious and certain. The belief is rooted in American exceptionalism, romantic nationalism, and nascent ideas of white chauvinism. White chauvinism, implying the inevitable spread of republicanism and the American way. It is one of the earliest expressions of American imperialism, and one of the nice or kind ways that they like to categorize this as is democracy. All right, the spread of democracy. You see? So this is this is what's being explained here, man. All right. And when you go back to what that dude said, let's go back to the elder's video real quick. All right, bear with me. I think we're done with what she's got to say. Pretty much, she got to the point. All right, so bear with me.
Get a few other clips and some scriptures.
Power. When black people chimp out, it looks like nihilistic gang violence and drive-by shootings. When brown people chimp out, it looks like all Akbar and it looks like cartels. When white people chimp out, it looks like ubiquitous domination. A level looks like nihilism.
Just listen to this devil as they know that they're in, and then we'll get a few other clips and some scriptures.
power. When black people chimp out, it looks like nihilistic gang violence and drive-by shootings. When brown people chimp out, it looks like Allah Akbar and it looks like cartels. When white people chimp out, it looks like ubiquitous domination. A level of conquest that other people could never fucking conceive of is the reality. And that makes a lot of people, and makes
I'm gonna let his ass finish.
a lot of people uncomfortable, and on some level I don't even like being the one to say it because temperamentally I'm a sensitive person, but we have to start acknowledging that's the reason why all of this has been foisted upon us as a people, is because they are afraid of us.
Yeah, right. When let me do this here, man. You see, when white people chimp out, all right. When white people crash out, you know what I'm saying? It looks like Ted Bundy. You see what I'm saying? When an Edomite crashes out, when Edomites crash out, it looks like Ted Bundy. It looks like it looks like fucking what the hell is that nigga's name? Um, shit, man. It looked like the Killer Clown. That nigga, you know. All right. It looks like fucking all the thriller movies, all the horror movies. You know what I'm saying? Michael Myers and shit. You know what I'm saying? Jason. All right. Freddy Krueger. All that type of shit that goes on, man. All right. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. Scream. That's what it looks like. The movie Scream. All right. When these Edomites crash out, that's what it looks like. You see? It looks like a 13-year-old kid who goes into a school and blasts up the whole school. That's what it looks like. All right? You see what I'm saying? Let me do this here. Let me just look this up. Notorious serial deleters in America. Notorious serial deleters in America. Yep. Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. It looks like Ted Bundy. It looks like Jeffrey Dahmer. It looks like John Wayne Gacy. Huh? That's what it looks like, man. You see what I'm saying? It looks like a case study. When these jokers start acting stupid, it looks like a fucking case study. When these Edomites act the fuck out. You see? And they think that somehow makes them superior. All right? All this talk about we protect the children and all that stuff, man. And here it is, all these so-called white people are in this are in these files, left and right, up, down, over and under, and center. You know what I'm saying? And what happens? Does anybody ride on the White House? You see what I'm saying? Your boy Trump is right there, all up in them files, and and y'all ain't do shit. You know why? Because y'all are just like him. Y'all do him too. Y'all do that too. You see what I'm saying? Just like Shahid Bozeman said. All right? There's nothing different. There's no real outrage because they're one of them. Because they're amongst that class. They would behave in the same degrading manner. All right? They would do the same thing if they had money to get away with it. They would do the same exact fucking thing. There's no difference. This is what it looks like when Edomites crash out. This is what it looks like when Edomites have money. You see, you can play that whole innocent card all you want to. You can play that righteous card all you want to, man. All right, but the scriptures say what they say about y'all. Let's go to Hebrews. All right. All right, Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 16. It reads, "Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau." All right, and that trickles down to his descendants, man. You see what I'm saying? Y'all don't want to talk about what was going down in the so-called dark ages. You don't want to talk about that. You don't want to have that conversation. You see what I'm saying? And you think this is something new? When you read about the Borgia family, you see what I'm saying? Wicked, sick sons of bitches, man. When you look at the Caesars, when you look at the you know the Roman rulers, the emperors, you know what I'm saying? All of them jokers was sick. They were all sick. When you look at the Diadochi, all right, when they was all being cutthroats because they wanted secession, all right, to rulership, and they were just doing the most, man. This is how you are, man. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected. Lord knows if these devils were able to inherit the blessing, man, what kind of world would we be in? God damn it. What kind of world would we be in? You see what I'm saying? When you look at the old movie, all right, the old movie Planet of the Apes with Charlton Heston, all right? And you had the young monkey. He was reading the was the 69th scroll or 29th scroll 6th verse, right? And he said, "Beware the beast, man." All you gotta do is just go to YouTube, and type in uh uh the scene from Planet of the Apes. Okay, type it in. Scene from the Planet of the Apes. Beware the beast man, for he is the devil's pawn alone amongst God's primates. All right, alone among God's primates. He kills for sport, for lust, for greed. He'll murder his brother to possess his brother's land. Let him not breed in great numbers, because he will make a desolation of his home and yours. You gotta shun him, man, and cast him back into his jungle lair, because he's the harbinger of death, man. All right, who is as death and cannot be satisfied. Need me to read that again? Maybe I should read that again. You see what I'm saying? Because you're gonna have Edomites that get up in here and they're gonna be pissed off and they're gonna say, "Oh no, that's racist and that's hateful. That you what you saying." All right. Let's go back to Habakkuk. Habakkuk 2 and 4. It says, "Because his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. Who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, for he is the harbinger of death." And this joker wants to shake his hand as if there's something to flex at. You see what I'm saying? Job chapter 27, verse 13. It reads, "This is the portion of a wicked man with the Most High, and the heritage of oppressors, which they shall receive of the Almighty. If his children be multiplied, it is for the sword." You see what I'm saying? The children that you Edomites is having now, man, all of y'all is just set for the sword at this point. All right, there is no more rulership for you. It's all coming down, man. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, because y'all are going down, man. Ain't nothing left for you. Y'all have done too much. Now y'all about to charge people. You're about to charge people to breathe, to drink water. You see where we at? If his children be multiplied, it is for the sword. It is for the sword, and his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread. Those that remain of him shall be buried in death, and his widows shall not weep. And your widows ain't gonna care, man. Your women don't care. Your women ain't gonna care about it. You see what I'm saying? They turning against you right now, as we just saw. As we just saw. Let me get this real quick.
Amount of times I've been on dates with white men and they've asked me if I've dated black guys before is ridiculous. I was on a date with this white guy in Chicago last year and he goes, "So, who do you typically date? The guys that look like me?" I knew exactly what he was getting at because most white guys will ask this question at some point because they're trying to figure out ultimately if you're, quote, tainted. I literally said to him, "Does it bother you that you think about black men so much more than they will ever think about you?" And that ended the conversation, but obviously we didn't go on a second date and I do think he was pretty offended by that. But the amount of white guys, even who are, quote, liberal, who are genuinely threatened and intimidated by you going on a date with people of color is ridiculous. Because it's not just black men. If they find out that you've dated a South Asian man or you've been on dates with women, specifically women of color, they will react similarly. Although it is obviously the most pronounced and genuinely disgusted that they will look if you say that you have been on dates with black men. But this is just one example of white men trying to figure out the, quote, purity of the white women they're seeing. And it's a way of resource guarding their own women because they don't like white women seeing other races or other genders. I'm Kylie, and here are the top 3 things that white supremacists have confessed to me in my DMs. I have no idea why, but conservatives have started flocking to my DMs in hordes, confessing all of their insecurities to me. So here are the top 3. Number 1, nearly all of them have expressed anger and frustration that white women have stopped liking white men as much. According to them, there is no longer a preference that white women have for white men because of integration. And they're deeply upset by this fact because they believe that that advantage is the only way that they were able to get women. Number 2, most of them have confessed to me that they have a micro, and they have stated that this is one of the reasons that they are so insecure and mean to people. Specifically, why they hate black men so much because of their perceived larger size. And confession number 3, most of them have said they have an inability to satisfy women, which leads to heightened feelings of insecurity and jealousy when seeing their wives or girlfriends with other men. And also, it's the reason why a lot of them have fetishes for being a cuck. My DMs are not open to these types of messages. Do not send me these types of messages. And just know that if you do, I will be making content and expose.
So, and a lot of this explains as to why they seem so sexually inclined towards adolescents, or shall I say underaged. All right, and just let that one marinate for you. Check this.
What I would say very simply is that those of us who are born with this pigmentation have certain privileges, things we can take for granted. We have the safety, the security. So we don't want to lose this. Now, this also means that, and here's the unpleasant part, that so much of our safety, security status comes from putting down black people, saying we're not like them. We're Europeans. We're more highly evolved. We've got talents they don't have. And that's where you get, the flip side of this, which really is the ugly side of racism.
Well, how much does sex and sexuality really have to do with race relations, particularly between white men and black men?
Well, if you take white men and black men, let's take it 2 ways.
Okay.
If a white man is walking down the street and he sees a couple, a very attractive black man, really masculine, and with him a very attractive white woman, very white, we'll make her blonde, He looks at that woman and he wonders, this is the white man, what does she see in him? What do they do together? And it really drives him, us, up the wall. Because she's a woman who could choose, a white guy, but she chooses a black guy. And that really bothers us. And as a result, what we want to do is some way take that black man away. Because we begin to say, hey, is she having a better time with him? In various ways than she can with me. And so he's competition for us. And you know how people react to competition.
All right. So, when you take this into account, then you could begin to understand why they had such a fixation on the genitalia of so-called black men. All right, you can understand why. You see what I'm saying? And they did it to not just so-called Negro, but to the rest of the tribes, man. They did it to all the men of the tribes. Okay, but but that's not the behavior of someone who is confident in his superiority. You see what I'm saying? That's not the behavior of someone who is secure within this this dichotomy that they've been living in for all these years. You see what I'm saying? That's not the behavior of someone who has this masculine frame and who has this idea that they are actually powerful, more powerful and whatnot. You see what I'm saying? Because it doesn't add up. You see, it doesn't add up. I shouldn't need to cut off your genitalia and do all these things. You know what I'm saying? If I really think that I'm superior to you, and to do it all the time. You see what I'm saying? So let's go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 33 and verse 29. I'll end it here. All right, because your women, as it says, his widows shall not weep. Your women are not going to weep for you, man. Your women are leaving you. You see? And when your women leave you for your enemy, that means that you have lost, all right, you have lost your own rulership. All right? Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 29. It says, Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people saved by the Lord Yahweh, the shield of thy help, and who is the sword of thy excellency. And thine enemies shall be found liars unto thee, and thou shalt tread upon their high places. All right? An entire switching is happening right now, changing of the guards, if you will, and it's only something that's going to continue to irk at these Edomites. You know what I'm saying? The closer that they get to the end of their rulership, man, and they finna crash out. And this is why we tell you that Jacob's trouble is going to be overwhelming. We're already here. We're already here. When these Edomites fully crash the fuck out, man, these niggas gonna go crazy on you, Jakes. They are going to go crazy. You see what I'm saying? This is why the prophets have been telling you, all right, to get yourselves together, man, to get your act together, to repent and to pray. All right, repent and pray. This is why the prophets have been saying this. You see what I'm saying? If you're not inside this spiritual ark, your ass is going to get got when these Edomites get activated. When the Lord activates these Edomites and brings about that spirit of vengeance upon them, it's your ass. So I'm going to cut that there. I pray this lesson was edifying to the elect of the nation of Israel. This has been your brother Zakaria Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. In closing, I want to give all our praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim V'cha Kudash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and who teach well. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom.